the most powerful tool of reflection when we do that on a daily basis, right? You're supposed to bring yourself to account each day. So there's questions like what worked, what didn't, like, and we have to be willing. If you're not willing to ask that question on a consistent, honest basis, you're going to end up in a place you don't want to be. So it's like really, I think that self-reflection is always there. And there's many times like graduated, in agriculture, and I see all my friends, going founding Facebook and other things, and then it's like just careers skyrocketing, and here I am trying to figure out agriculture. And it turns out I'm so glad I went the path I did. I would never ended up where I am now, in kind of a dream scenario. And there's many times I didn't ever think I'd get here. So yeah, the journey.
Thank you. I have got a couple of questions. I'm going to group them for you guys, but ask you to ask them. The first one are kind of future oriented around what you're doing now, Roy. So Connor and then Divya. Oh, Connor's not online. So he's asking, what aspects would you personally like to see? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, what Manisha said. So what aspects would you personally like to see realized in a future? So not in a dystopia, but in a positive future.
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
So what aspects would you include in your personal positive vision of the future?
Oh, well, if you read the writings, see, this is the other thing that's so amazing about being a Baha'i, is that I actually think a positive future is our ability to think about the future positively is a Baha'i superpower. If you look at any of the other religions, Christianity, Islam, they're waiting for the time of the end. That's the future, right? Everything's just going to end. Like, it's not very so. Okay, that's fine. And then Buddhists and Hindus, life is this ever-ending cycle of pain and suffering, and you're trying to escape it. Baha'is, peace is not only possible, it's inevitable, right? And then we actually describe the Baha'i future world state where there's a common language and currency and an amazing united federation of nations, and then we have a description of what a community is going to be like and how decisions are going to be made. And my plea to you guys is like, take that Baha'i superpower and start thinking about how you describe the future in a way that's compelling and can attract people. Because if people want hope, like they really need hope, and the writings are full of hope. But I don't know whether we've really become proficient at describing the incredible hope that's in the writings in a way that really connects with people, right? And so we have to experiment with kind of how to do that, but it's all there. And to me, it's just, I read Shoghi Effendi, I read Alpha Baha, and in some cases, such specific descriptions of what a future society is going to look like. I can't wait till the movies and other things are done. If we put a $200 million movie into $200 million into the developing a movie of what the Baha'i future is going to look like that could be a really cool movie. But you have to, it's hard to do good well. So we have to get the best talent in the world to make that happen. All right, let me stop there.
Thank you, Divya.
Okay, so I have two questions. The first one kind of links back to Connor's question, which is, what are some of the examples of the food future plans that people submitted? Like, I don't know if you personally read through them, but what were some of the ones that stood out to you? And the other question was, how did you not give up hope when you were struggling back in Africa? I think it was Rwanda or something.
Zimbabwe. Yeah, so actually, if you go to the Rockefeller Foundation, we have the top 10 winners. And actually 2 of them were led by Baha'is, amazingly enough. See, our superpowers came through. And And what was interesting is we found that if you want to get groups of people to come together, the worst way to do that is to focus people on problems, right? And disagreements. The most important thing to do when you get diverse groups of people together is to first establish your principles, the values. And once you have those values, you can work through problems. And I think one of some of the things that were common throughout is that people wanted food systems that were really nourishing the culture, right? That promoted culture, where enabled you to understand your food and where it came from. It really promoted healthy food, not this crappy ultra processed food, which we all know makes us sick, but makes a lot of people money. People wanted to move away from that kind of food into food that's really truly healthy and natural. People talked about creating economies that were really equitable and didn't concentrate all of the profits into a narrow, small group of people, which we have now. Right now, we have such massive consolidation. There's no, we don't really have competition anymore. We have oligopolies and monopolies, and they are sucking the life and out of the world. And we have to have a much more distributed system, right? So it's a lot more emphasis on local and regional food economies that connect with the global economy, but still is rooted locally. So I will stop there because I know there's lots of other questions. And you go to the Rockefeller Foundation Food System Visionaries, and you can see them. Every continent. We had submissions from about 190 countries, which is pretty amazing.
Gears. Yeah, and then we'll come back to a couple of challenges. So one is from Mariana.
So how do I not give up hope? This is prayer and love from your family and the community. I think that's, yeah. And sometimes I did, right? That's just also true. Okay.
Yeah, no, there was another question about tests and how you overcame tests when your actual faith was tested. If there were specific moments and how you overcame those moments.
Yeah, in terms of faith in the Baha'i faith, in God, in oneself, all of the above. I've had them all. I think doubts are, doubts are part of learning, and I think it's, that's why we have a book of certitude. I think that's why you keep asking questions. One of the things I love about the faith is that actually questions is a quality of God, right? Which you think about it, and think of the Baha'i names of the months of the Baha'i calendar, right? Beauty, loftiness, splendor, glory, and then questions. Have you guys thought about why questions is a name of God as a Baha'i month? Questions are the way we learn, and by necessity, questions, you have to allow doubt in order to go from doubt to certainty and back and forth. I've had lots of doubt in my life. I've questioned God. I've questioned the Baha'i faith. I've questioned myself, and that's, I think, the beauty of life is that that you keep asking and developing, and then you start having confirmations that enable you to believe in a reality that actually makes sense yeah. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Nasheen, I don't know if you want to ask your question.
Yeah. Hi. I wanted to know if you want to go by developing or having a agricultural farm that produces food according to the Baha'i writings, or that is at least healthy food, and at the same time you have no experience whatsoever in agriculture. What would be the best way to do that, or how can you what's the best way? How can you try to get yourself best educated so that you can successfully do that?
Yeah, that's a great. So I mean, the answer is to get experience, right? And to find a local farm, a farmer, an agricultural outfit that would allow you to, there's all kinds of really interesting internships available now, and you can connect. If that is of something interest, I would highly recommend spending time, because there are things that you're going to like and things that you're not going to like, and only by experiencing it are you going to be able to say, oh, that's going to work for me, or that's what I really know to learn how to do. And I think the more experiences you have, the more basis you have to make a really good decision. But yeah, don't start a farm without experience. Bad idea. Learn from all the mistakes everybody else has made as much as you can, and then make your own mistakes that are new. But don't it's not a good idea to repeat the mistakes that other people have already learned, if you can. So, all right.
Thank you. Roy, I just want to check on your timing. Would you have time for a couple more questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
long as I'm not boring people.
Yeah. No. I don't think so. We're still getting more questions. So Mariana, I guess we were kind of interested because you mentioned you didn't like your time at McKinsey. So Mariana has a question about that.
Yeah. So I am so grateful I went to McKinsey. I learned a lot, but McKinsey puts you in, it's the premier management consulting firm in the world, I guess. At least that's what they claim. So I was this agricultural engineer, and I was part of a new hiring program. So I didn't have an MBA. And my first study, as they say, I was thrown onto a trading floor of the second largest bank in Canada, and told to help redesign the trading system, which I knew nothing about. And I was literally sworn at every day. Like, what the are you doing here? You have to, take a lot of abuse. But I learned a lot. That was trial by fire. My other studies were a little bit more relevant, and I learned how to communicate. For me, it was more that it was just such an intense time, and I had my first child, and I was doing 60, 70-hour work weeks, which is not healthy. But boy, did I learn a lot, and I still use. So it's okay to be crazy for a couple of years, but I don't think it's good to be that off balance for very long. So I'm glad I had it, but I would not want to do that long term. Some people can do it well. I couldn't.
Yeah, thank you. Did it help you as an entrepreneur in Africa? Because
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you learn how to think business-wise, right? I learned a lot about business but most important, I learned how to communicate and how to think strategically, which is something that, those are core skills. And I use those every day.
Perfect. I think the last question we have is from Leia.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if you have any advice, for like the youth or individuals, like what can we do as someone who is not like, like the head of like a department that makes big decisions about agricultural things. So how can we shape our consumption of food in general? Like how can we shape this to support sustainability?
That's a great question, and I love that question. And because I think we're all, one of the things about the food is that we all eat it, and we're all part of the food system. And I would, there are some really wonderful writings about what to eat by that Abdul Baha. And Abdul Baha is very clear. He says, we will eventually move to primarily vegetarian diets, right? And that meat will, still be around a little bit, but it'll be primarily medicinal. And so, I think we should all be shifting quite significantly towards that. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, but I am mostly a vegetarian, right? So these are my rules. I eat primarily vegetarian, whole food, whole, everything as whole as possible. You want to avoid processing if you can, right? There's some processing, but the ultra processed stuff, completely try to avoid that. Because turns out we don't even know what's in our food, right? We measure 150 biomolecules. That's what a food composition database has. There are 20,000 biomolecules in our diet. And so when you ultra process, you're getting rid of so many things that are actually, we're learning, are really important to our microbiome. So whole natural foods, that's what Baha'i talks about, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, etc. And so that's, shifting our diet towards that. So my rules are mostly vegetarian, whole foods as much, whole plants, whole foods as much as I can. But I have two exceptions. The first exception is I will eat anything anybody serves to me with love. All right. So if I go to somebody's home and they're serving me, I'll eat it because I don't have a health reason why I can't eat meat, etc. And the second is for the exceptionally delicious. So if somebody serves me gourmet sabzi, I'm going to eat gourmet sabzi because it is exceptionally delicious and I love it. And food is as much about joy and connection and love and family as it is about nutrition, right? And so I think that's the other, what I love about the writings is the moderation that's there, right? Let's not go to extremes if you can. I mean, there's some people who need very, very strict diets, and we have to, that's fine. But for many people, you can be a little bit moderate. But as a whole, I think we need to shift how we eat. The second, eat more locally, eat more sustainable, regenerative agriculture, organic if you can. There's lots of issues around that, but I like, shift. And if you do eat meat, make sure it's really from a farm that's raising animals in a way that's humane. And most farms are not. Like I don't know how many of you guys have been to industrial farms. That will turn you off meat in a second. And I've been to many of them. And I'm like, I just will not. Like I go to restaurants and I ask them, where did this meat come from? If they can't tell me, I don't eat it, because I imagine the industrial farm it has come from, and I just can't bring myself to eat something that has been raised with such cruelty and lack of concern for kindness and decency. So anyway, as you can tell, I've got lots of opinions on that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good. Was that the last question I have? And then I have one little exercise before we end.
Oh, yeah. No, we definitely want to get to the exercise. I just want to check with Neil, who's with us from India. So it's like 2 a.m. there.
Oh, great.
And Neil, did we get your question answered, or you just want to ask it again just to be sure in case Roy wants to add something?
Yeah, so actually my question was, I mean, you talked about different pearls, right? And
Yes.
one. So I wanted to ask, how does one go about finding his pearl? And
I love that question.
times when there are so many options and you get attracted to so many different things. So probably right now there's a problem of plenty, right? So how do you filtering everything and just understanding what truly your pearl is?
But I would say, there are a lot of pearls, and you're absolutely right. And I think it's to sample as many as you can, and just like feel them, and like, does this feel right? And you just have to read as much of the writings as you can and connect and reflect on it. I think there is no easy answer, but the more pearls that you can hold in your hand and think about, the more likely you're going to find the one or the ones, because I think there's multiple in most cases, that really resonate with your heart and your soul. And so, yeah, the more the better. That's my answer. All right.
And the exercise.
Okay, here's my exercise. Now, a year from now, you're not going to probably remember anything I've said, and you're probably not even going to remember my name. But you're going to remember this exercise, okay? I'll challenge you, okay? So this is an exercise, in modeling, etc. But I need you to kind of listen to everything I say really, really clearly. Okay. If you hold, I want you to hold out your hands about 6 inches. Okay. You can do that, right? Can everybody hold out their hands like this? Okay. Be very, and you got to be. This is an exercise in listening, so do that. Okay. So that's really nice and firm. Got strong arms. Everybody got that? Okay. To count of 4, you're going to clap your hands. Okay. So ready. Okay. Ready? Is everybody ready? They're holding your hands straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. This works better in person. So how many people actually did it on the count of 3? And how many did it at the count of 4? Like most people, okay, in a group, it's hard to assume with the delay here, but most people will do it when I clap and not at the count of 4, even though I told you to do it at the count of 4, right? And most of you, when I went like this, it's about a foot. It's not 6 inches. 6 inches is like this, right? So what you guys did is you didn't do what I told you to do. You did what I modeled, right? And so it's this incredible passage by Baha'u'llah that says, "Let deeds, not words, be your adorning." You can talk as much as you want, but people are going to follow and listen to what you do, and not what you say. So hopefully you're going to remember that a year from now. And you probably won't remember anything else I told you, but that's okay.
Well, Roy, this is great. Right. But actually, someone told me that people always remember how you made them feel.
Yes, that's true.
So
hopefully you'll remember that.
So I'm going to ask everyone to sign to bid you adieu and farewell by sharing one word about how they feel right now after hearing both speakers. And I'm just going to say your name because as I see you across my screen, and if you want to share how you feel in one word, that would be great. So I'm going to start with Franzi.
I would pick encouraged.
Hannah.
Inspired.
Sahar.
Enlightened.
Samuel.
Interested.
Connor.
Thankful.
May.
Uplifted.
Abhar.
I'd say elevated.
Anis.
Happy.
Karen.
Optimistic.
Leah.
Grateful.
Melania.
Full of thoughts. Phrase is not a word. I couldn't find the word.
Divya.
Hopeful.
Kyansu.
Trust.
Mariana.
Moved.
Kian.
Happy.
Sophie. Then Nadine.
I feel ready.
I feel enriched.
Neil.
I would say awakened.
Shanae.
Motivated.
Is there anybody else I missed?
Comforted.
Thankful.
Confirmed and uplifted.